In today's stock analysis, we are going to examine the key pillars, look at past results, see what the analysts' predictions are, create a valuation, and review then rate the company. Today we are going to look at Advanced Micro Devices, ticker AMD. Let's dive into the process I follow when reviewing whether or not to invest in a company. I analyze financial information against the 12 key pillars. These pillars are based on the insights and teachings of the best super investors, investors like Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, Joel Greenblatt, and Phil Town, and what I consider to be the most critical metrics when evaluating a business. Ideally, we want to see each metric achieve or exceed a specific benchmark. A company can earn 1 point for meeting the target, or 0.5 points if it falls just short but within 2% of the target. Stick around until the end. I'll reveal exactly what I plan to do with this stock and why it could matter for you. First, what does AMD actually do? Advanced Micro Devices is a global leader in semiconductor design, specializing in CPUs, GPUs, and AI accelerators used in everything from personal computers to data centers and gaming consoles. The company competes with industry giants like Intel and Nvidia and has carved out significant market share with its Ryzen and EPYC product lines. AMD's strategy focuses on high-performance computing and expanding its reach in AI and cloud infrastructure markets, positioning it for continued growth as demand for data and processing power rises globally. Now, let's break down the 12 key pillars. The first pillar is earnings per share growth. This tells us how much profit the company is generating per share over time. For AMD, EPS growth over the past 12 months is 36%, which exceeds our 10% target, scoring 1 point. Next is free cash flow growth, which measures how much actual cash a business generates after all capital expenditures. Warren Buffett sees this as critical for long-term sustainability. AMD's FCF growth is 15%, scoring 1 point. Then we have revenue growth, which reflects the company's ability to grow sales before expenses. AMD's revenue growth is 8%, which is within 2% of our 10% target, scoring 0.5 points. Now we turn to book value growth, which shows how shareholder equity is increasing. Phil Town stresses this as a core indicator of long-term value creation. AMD's book value growth is 1%, well below the target, scoring 0 points. Next, we evaluate return on invested capital and return on equity. These are used to assess management's effectiveness in generating returns. For AMD, both of these are 4%, which falls short of the 10% benchmark, scoring 0 points each. Now we move on to debt. Joel Greenblatt prefers companies that can pay off all their debt within 3 years using free cash flow. AMD's debt would take 1.72 years to pay off, which meets our target, scoring 1 point. Now let's look at the remaining key pillars which help define an excellent business. Let's look at the gross margin, which measures how much money is retained after production costs. AMD's gross margin is 54%, well above the 40% target, scoring 1 point. Next is operating profit margin, which tells us how much profit a company earns from its operations before taxes and interest. Peter Lynch used this to assess operating efficiency. AMD's operating margin is 10%, scoring 1 point. Free cash flow yield, used by Terry Smith to measure efficiency, is currently 1.64%, below our 5% target, scoring 0 points. Next up is 10-year book value growth, which reflects the company's long-term increase in equity. AMD has grown book value by 28%, exceeding the 10% benchmark, scoring 1 point. Finally, we evaluate 5-year net income growth. Bill Miller believes this is the strongest predictor of share price growth. AMD's 5-year net income growth is 12%, exceeding the target and scoring 1 point. In the description, I've included a link to the Investors Page and the annual report if you want to check it out for yourself. AMD has continued to demonstrate steady growth in both profitability and margins. While cash flow efficiency remains an area for improvement, strong gross margins, positive net income growth, and manageable debt levels offer a strong foundation for future performance, especially with the growing demand for AI and data center processing. As of today, the stock is trading at $102.84. Over the past 6 months, AMD's stock has been slowly falling, and recently hit a low of $76.48 during market hours. Here's a quick overview of AMD's financial metrics, along with what each one tells us. The market cap is $166.75 billion. This reflects the total market value of all shares. The revenue is $27.75 billion. This is AMD's total sales over the last 12 months, the top line before expenses. The net income is $2.23 billion. The is the profit after all costs, including taxes and interest, a key bottom line measure. They have 1.62 billion shares outstanding. The number of shares currently held by investors, used to calculate EPS. The EPS is $1.37. Profit generated per share, key to understanding valuation. The PE ratio is 75.8, indicates how much investors are willing to pay per dollar of earnings. Higher ratios often suggest high growth expectations. They don't have dividend. AMD currently reinvests profits into growth rather than returning them to shareholders. Analyst consensus is a buy. Most analysts see the company as well positioned for growth. The 12-month price target is around $136, based on various reports. Let's calculate a valuation. Using AMD's current EPS of $1.36, and an estimated EPS growth rate of 20%, assigning a forward PE ratio of 45, projecting 10 years forward with a 10% desired return, we estimate a future stock price of $379. Therefore, the intrinsic value is about $146. If we include a margin of safety of 25%, this gives us a buy price of $109.57. With the stock currently trading around $102.84, it is below the intrinsic value, which earns a check. It all depends on your personal view and outlook for the company, as well as the return on the investment you would like to see. When reviewing the key pillars, AMD scored 7.5 out of 12, earning a check. Over the last year, the stock has been trading downwards. Whilst this might present us with a buying opportunity, it may not have hit the bottom yet. Therefore, it scores a cross. Analysts are predicting an average EPS growth rate of 20%, scoring a check. The current price is below the intrinsic value, scoring a check. According to Morningstar, AMD currently has a narrow economic moat due to strong product positioning and innovation, scoring a check. Thanks for sticking with me. Now let me share my personal thoughts and opinions on this company. My final overall rating is 4 out of 5 stars. AMD continues to prove itself as a high-performance semiconductor leader with strong momentum in AI, gaming, and cloud computing. While the company has a high PE ratio, the company's innovation, market share gains, and long-term growth strategy make it a compelling pick in the tech sector. Thank you for joining me in today's analysis. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights.